We are live. So, welcome to episode 305.
Ooh, 305. Nice.
I'm Michael Martin, the American Werewolf, and I'm wondering, do you have any tobacco? In the house tonight, we've got Stupid Fucking Bill Man.
Yeah.
Gibby is a pimp.
Yep, at Gibby is a pimp. If you saw this movie, you know what I'm talking about.
Well, we are neck deep in the month of April with our third Jarmusch film, and here we go with Jim Jarmusch's Dead Man. Nice. So if you're ready to go, shall we get it going?
Yep.
Boogie woogie.
All right, before you start,
yeah,
you shared the trailer for the new Godzilla movie. You know, I am already waiting to go to an actual theater to sit there and watch that new Godzilla movie. So,
if I'm not mistaken, that falls right around my birthday. That is a fantastic birthday gift to go see a fucking Toho Godzilla movie, Godzilla -1.
Yes.
And he looks terrifying. It looks like everything a Godzilla movie should be, which is just fucking fantastic.
Nice.
This band that I play in the intro is a band called Pygmy Love Circus, and I happened to catch them by accident, a live show from 2004 on a disc back when we had CDs, and I still have that CD. It's one of my favorite live shows, and the only reason I was kind of interested in it was because the drummer at that time was Danny Carey from Tool.
Oh, no kidding.
It's a bunch of pickup people. They've changed drummers a number of times, sometimes actually borrowing old drummers from Black Flag.
Right on.
So it's a hard rocking band out of LA. And that year I got to see them at the now defunct North Star Bar in Philadelphia.
Wow.
Which was just fantastic. And an old surf band that isn't around anymore. I don't know if you would remember them, called Mondo Topless.
I remember them.
Huh?
I remember them.
Yeah, Mondo Topless opened for them, and I thought that they were really good. Unfortunately, I don't think those boys are around anymore. At least, the band is not. I don't think Pygmy Love Circus is around anymore. But it's still, if you ever get a chance, I'll find a way to maybe share some files with you or something like that.
Very cool.
Listen and see what you think. So, this is from Wikipedia. It says Dead Man is a 1995 acid western film written and directed by Jim Jarmusch. It stars Johnny Depp, Gary Farmer, Bob Thornton, Iggy Pop, Crispin Glover, John Hurt, Michael Wincott, Lance Henriksen, Gabriel Byrne, Mili Avital, and Robert Mitchum in one of his final film performances. Set in the late 19th century, the story follows William Blake, played by Depp, a meek accountant on the run after killing a man. He has a chance encounter with an enigmatic Native American spirit guide called Nobody, played by Farmer, who believes Blake is the reincarnation of the visionary English poet William Blake. Described by Jarmusch as a quote-unquote psychedelic western, the film is shot entirely in monochrome. Neil Young composed the guitar-dominated soundtrack with portions he improvised while watching the movie footage. Dead Man premiered at the 1995 Cannes Film Festival, where it competed for the Palme d'Or. Initial critical response was mixed, but retrospective reviews have been generally positive, with Jonathan Rosenbaum describing it as, quote, as exciting and as important as any new American movie I've seen in the 90s, end quote. At the 12th Independent Spirit Awards, the film was nominated in 4 categories, including Best Film. This film is available now on Tubi. It's available on Plex. It's available on Pluto TV.
I saw it on HBO Max.
It's available on HBO Max. There's also a copy for free as part of YouTube movies.
Yes.
So there's a
Just
copy.
have to sit through the commercials, but that's fine.
Yeah. Well, I actually pay a long time ago. I accidentally. I didn't accidentally. I took a trial subscription for a premium. And I've never had ads since then, and now I could just never go back. I can't go back to ads again. I own, when we were talking about Only Lovers Left Alive a long time ago, you brought this up, and I found a non-Criterion collection copy for, I think, $5, this DVD. I got a chance to watch most of it last night, and finished up maybe the last 30 minutes today after work. Let's start with you.
Okay.
What did you think of the film? Have you seen it in a long time? Initial thoughts, like as always.
Yeah, sure. I remember seeing this probably 1998. It was a blockbuster night. Just trying to watch. We had a period where we would watch all the independent movies we could find at Blockbuster or wherever, and this was one of them. I loved Jim Jarmusch. I had seen Night on Earth and Mystery Train a while back, so I was a big fan of his movies, and I remember liking it a whole lot. But to be honest, watching it again now, over 20 years later, it's like a whole new film. Like I'd totally forgotten a lot about it. Especially, I forgot that Iggy Pop was in it. I forgot that Bob Thornton was in it. I forgot Crispin Glover was in it. I'm watching it and I'm like, oh, hey, cool, that's awesome. This is an awesome movie. I'd even forgotten that Neil Young did the soundtrack, so I was digging the soundtrack. The one part I did remember, though, from watching it originally, Gibby Haynes, the singer for the Butthole Surfers, in that opening scene when Johnny Depp's walking through the town, he's the guy getting a blowjob in the alleyway that points a gun at him. So there you go, Gibby's a pimp. But fantastic movie, and I totally got all of the themes and the subtext and all the visual clues. Some of them you couldn't help but get. They were just smacking you in the face, but it was like a whole new movie. It was fantastic, so I'm glad I got to watch it again.
There is how can I put this? I've lost my train of thought temporarily, but as we said before we went on, there was a period of time, excuse me, I'm back on track now. There was a period of time that millennials might not know about, and certainly Gen Z wouldn't know about. I think I heard, was it Jenna Ortega one time said she had no idea who Johnny Depp was, which I just found to be appalling. And there was a time when this guy was just the crown prince of fantastic independent films. This is before Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm sure those are the films that he's known best for nowadays by the larger population. But there was just a whole string of 80s and 90s films where he came off that 21 Jump Street show. Everybody thinking that Peter McNichol, if you remember him, was going to be the big thing. And it turned out to be Johnny Depp.
Yep.
And I think Nancy Travis was in that show as well. And he's just a fantastic actor. And I think what's happened post-divorce and post-nuclear, divorce, A-bomb being dropped into his life, you're not seeing him that much anymore in films. He's doing small parts again, but like you're like, wait, Johnny Depp did a film last year? Like, hold on, I would have gone to see it.
Right.
It feels like the movement has, the wave has kind of rolled back, as he said in Fear and Loathing, and it's a shame because
that's kind of weird because to be honest, I could give a fuck about his wife and all that divorce stuff. I mean, I understand someone shit on a bed, someone drank a big glass of red wine, but I could give a flying fuck. I want to see Johnny Depp in some good movies, man.
Well, we've covered him a number of times. We got him in here on Fear and Loathing, and I think that was a really good conversation.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about the way the story's flipped after he goes back to Vegas the second time, and it gets super dark, and the falling of the righteousness of the hippie movement as they just become, it's the 70s, and now they're just depraved fucking addicts.
Yes.
Depraved addicts. But the movie that I think that I enjoyed even more, although the discussion perhaps wasn't as good, was The Rum Diary.
I like The Rum Diary.
I love The Rum Diary.
I thought it was great.
Yeah. Oh, no. I own a copy on DVD. I own a copy on Blu-ray. I think I gave the DVD away to somebody one time. You ever give something to someone and you know that you're never going to watch it?
Yeah. My entire TV show of the Planet of the Apes. It's
who'd you give it to?
Probably Dave.
I don't remember. Oh, Bongo?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. But yeah, man, we were just saying before we started the stream that there was this period of time when indie movies were really that. They were independently made. They were original. They were fresh. They were something different from the stifling corporate sort of formulas of the late 80s and early 90s. And this movie is completely in that vein of, original. It's original to the filmmaker. It's just a fantastic movie. And Johnny Depp seemed to pop up in a lot of those in that period of time from like 91 or 89 to 97, 98 when independent movies were being commodified and turned into not independent, but trying to look like they are independent movies.
It's hard to, you and I have had this conversation since the show has started. It's hard to get people to watch good things.
Mm-hmm.
People don't want to watch good things. They want to watch the same shit over and over and over again. And I remember going off for 15 minutes when we covered Hereditary. And I said, why are people, and you're like, I think you said Pete Townsend quoted, like, if you got somebody who went all out and tried to do something really original, and he's like, no one's going to watch it. But the same people doing the same shit, and it's funny because, we were talking about music before we went on, and Coachella was just this weekend. And it seemed to be more about the people that were at Coachella than musical performances.
Yes. And the big story that my kids were all talking about.
Sabrina Carpenter?
No. It was, what the fuck is his name? The baby guy.
Who?
Justin
Bieber.
Yeah, so he tried something. He tried to be original. He was telling stories. He was showing memes of himself, and like they're talking to me about it like it was the biggest fail ever. But we're talking about it because he was doing something that was completely different than the standard Coachella. I'm so cool. Look at me, all you rich fucking people.
Yeah.
He was doing something. He was trying to get back to being an artist, and people are talking about it, but they looked at it like it was a fail.
Between that and Sabrina Carpenter, it's amazing what can happen when people go off the script.
Mm-hmm.
Like real shit actually happens, and apparently she voiced up about somebody doing that thing, and they're like, "What is that?" She's like, "I don't like it," and of course, by the next day she had apologized. And said, "Oh, I got to welcome more people into this sort of thing." But for 5 minutes, she did something interesting.
Yes.
For 5 minutes, and probably for 30 minutes or an hour. Bieber did something interesting.
Yeah.
And people don't. And I think you were saying this before. maybe when we were talking about a teen movie or something like that, your kids didn't believe that shit was really like that. Maybe we watched Dazed and Confused or something like that, you know, with the paddling and everything like that. And they're like, nobody would believe that that was fucking real back then.
Yeah,
you know?
Not only did people not believe that stuff like could go on in the 70s, that the culture could be that different, but that you can make a movie about it, because even the movies now are like just so buttoned up and square and boring.
You know me, I like to go to the movies. I'm not a complainer. I have my $20 a month thing, you know, but I mean, I haven't found anything in weeks that I've wanted to go to. You know, like, nah, like I went to see something. Oh, I think the Luc Besson Dracula.
Okay.
And I put it off for like a month. I'm like, this movie's gonna fucking suck. And then I went to see it, and I'm like, you know what? That wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. It was actually enjoyable. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to, you know, say I'm going to get up and drive 20 minutes and then, you know, sit for 2 hours and then drive back for something I don't want to see. You know, like people aren't going to do that. So for the past couple of months, Regal's just been getting my $20. I haven't been going in. But in the 90s, man, we were living.
Dude, you couldn't throw a rock without having something interesting. Even the mainstream movies were more interesting at that point. Like I would line up to see a movie like I can't even think of it. Anthony Hopkins eating people.
Silence of the Lambs. Yeah. Nobody had ever seen anything like that. What about David Fincher in Seven?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Nobody had seen anything like that before, and you're like, "What the fuck?" The Shawshank.
Yeah.
You know, nobody had seen it. Saving Private Ryan. You know, we had Terrence Malick with what's that one? The Thin Red Line. You know, and just all these fantastic movies. And now
every time you turned around, we were talking about Tarantino, and every time a Tarantino movie came out, people flocked to see it.
Spike Lee. You know, we're going to cover Spike Lee, I think, in July. You know, we're going to Do the Right Thing. You know, it pisses me off every time I see it, but it's a fantastic fucking movie. I hate everybody in the movie. And I usually don't like movies where there's like no admirable character. I suppose Danny Aiello was the only one who's like sort of close to likable. But yeah, we had this. And, you know, Depp, I don't know if I would say he's at the height of his power, but he's certainly fucking like doing it right, man.
He's crushing it. Before he went mainstream, he was crushing it.
Yeah, before he became Captain Jack Sparrow, one of my favorite Depp films, and it's not one of his more popular ones, is From Hell, with the Hughes brothers, with the Jack the Ripper movie. I love that movie.
Yep.
Oh my God,
and
I love that
I remember Carlito's Way and the Stephen King movie too, with John Turturro. Can't remember what that one was called.
I don't remember that one.
Oh yeah, where John Turturro is like the character that he created in his writing, who comes to life and haunts him and chases him.
It's Johnny Depp, isn't it? Secret Window.
Maybe.
Oh, and then there's The Dark Half with Timothy Hutton. He made a couple movies like that.
He was killing it, crushing it in the indies.
Yeah. So it looks like this was not a commercial success. It says that the budget for Dead Man, Jarmusch's black and white acid western, starring Johnny Depp, was $9 million. It was not a commercial success at the box office. The film grossed approximately $1.04 million domestically, with a worldwide total of $1.09, falling far short of recouping its production costs through theatrical release. It was one of the most expensive films Jarmusch had made up to that point, due in part to period detail and other factors. But its art house style and limited release contributed to the poor financial performance. The movie has since gained a strong cult following and critical reevaluation over the years. I mean, this is a Criterion Collection film. Watching it now, I could see at some point I'm going to have to upgrade this to Criterion and maybe pass this quick $5 DVD along. But I mean, it's basically the story of this man that played by Johnny Depp. His name is William Blake, and he's catching this train to take this job as an accountant in this town called Machine. And when I heard that, like I haven't seen this probably in 10, 15 or more years. I'm like, that just tells you everything. You're going to a town called Machine. Like, there's no feeling whatsoever. It's not Big Sky or, you know, Big River or, you know, whatever you'd want to call it. It's just Machine. And I love the scene in the train where it opens up, and every time he's going west. Every time, because he's coming from Cleveland, every time he wakes up, the passengers are rougher and rougher looking.
Yep. All the nice people have gotten off at their stops, and next thing you know, he's surrounded by these guys in skins and carrying rifles. Like
buffalo, and they just start fucking shooting buffalo as the train is moving. Like he's right there in the seat, and someone's like leaning across his lap with his big fucking Winchester, you know, just fucking going to town on buffalo. And then Crispin Glover comes out, and you know, what's your opinion on Crispin Glover? I mean, he's a
fucking weirdo, but he's a brilliant actor. He just kills it.
He gets your attention, man. He gets your attention every time.
River's Edge. I remember him from that before. I think that was before Back to the Future, or maybe right after. But if you know, Marty McFly's dad was suddenly this really, really good character in this dark movie about a dead girl by the river. River's Edge is the thing, man.
Well, I mean, it doesn't take long for him to. I mean, there's Crispin Glover, and then all of a sudden there's John Hurt.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then all of a sudden there's Robert Mitchum.
Yep.
You know, and they're just, you know, he's like, I got hired, and they're like, well, that was 2 months ago. You know, like we brought somebody else in since then. He's like, I put up every nickel that I have to get out here. You know, you get a look at the town, and it's rough. You know, There's shit and mud everywhere, and even in the monochrome, it's extremely effective. I should say the cinematography in this is fucking
beautiful,
fantastic. Yeah.
Beautiful. They really, some studio just put all its hopes and dreams into Jarmusch for this, because they lavished him with like creative control and money, and he delivered a fantastic movie. I don't see why it wasn't as successful as it was, successful as it could have been, because it's just packed with awesome hitters at that point.
Because I think what happens is this comes, I think, right after Pulp Fiction. And remember, everybody was trying to make a Pulp Fiction movie?
Yeah, of course.
You know, and so maybe the timing on it was wrong. You know, that kind of thing. I mean, I think one of the most overrated films in my lifetime is Tombstone.
Okay.
I think they made a spaghetti western. Like, it's a simple spaghetti western. It's not a terrible movie or anything like that, but it's not this like Lawrence of Arabia kind of thing that, you know, people are like, just, you know, A Bridge Too Far, or Bridge on the River Kwai, or, you know, Seven Samurai, that, like, you know, I guess, I don't know if I would call them normies, but, you know, just like regular guys swear it's the greatest film. I think this is a far better film than that, and nobody talks about this movie.
I just think that they probably didn't do the advertising and marketing like they should have, because like I said, I didn't see it until 98, maybe 99. Seeing it, you know, sitting on the shelf in Blockbuster, I had no idea that it even existed until I saw it there, you know, and this is like my height of movie going in 94, 95, 96. I should have known about that movie, and it just didn't hit.
Well, how many times have we talked about what's a fucking 5-star movie only for the performers or the director to be shut down by some fucking production company?
Yes.
You know, oh, well, you know, Mr. So-and-so, you know, you don't know what, you know, is involved in this. Hold on a second.
Uh-oh. We got comments? No? You're just sneezing.
I should mention that it's about 90 degrees out, and I think the pollen is out.
Yep.
So my Jeep has gone from being covered in ice to being covered in yellow pollen now. And I was out on the road all day driving, so I've got a little bit of a sniffle.
So he's coming into this town, and Crispin Glover just blows the whole thing. Like, you knew exactly what was going on when he says, "Why would you come to hell like this?" And he just sort of flips the cover, and you go, "Oh yeah, he is dead, isn't he? And he is going to hell, isn't he?"
Yeah. Well, wait. Do you? I mean, he's not dead at that point. You're saying he's going to die.
He's dead. He's dead.
Okay.
I pinched a little of this from a review, but Yeah, he's dead the whole fucking time. It's like a metaphor for him being dead. Like the whole movie is like the reason he's wearing that fancy suit. The reason he's wearing that fancy suit is because he was buried in it. You understand? And like Crispin Glover is the train driver that's bringing him to this place machine, the end of the line. You get to this factory, and there's like all these people working there, and they're all tormented. That's hell. And what happens is he relives the reason he is dead. Like when he's walking into the town, like Jarmusch could not have teed that up enough. He's walking past these caskets by his head, and then there's all those skulls, and then that whole scene of him walking down the street is you're like, okay, he's dead. That's a graveyard. He's going to this place, this machine, which is hell, and he's not even allowed there, and they're laughing at him, and like that's part of the torment. Then he relives why he is dead, because he obviously killed his girlfriend, because what's his name, Gabriel Byrne, is him doing what he did. Johnny Depp's just sort of
how the fuck? I'll be honest with you. 305 episodes. I've never been so far removed.
Like I said, I did a little show prep. I read a review that mentioned this, and it made complete fucking sense. And I went through it in my head, and it just makes sense. And now he's got to escape from the reason he's dead is sin, and he's out in the woods being chased down by these demons or whatever. What's his name shows up to help him, Gary Farmer.
Nobody.
And he wants to bring him to the ocean, which is him breaking out of this whatever purgatory, hell, whatever, and he's going to get out into the ocean. That's the plot. Is that this Indian named Nobody is going to help him escape from these people who are chasing him down because he's been framed and shot, and it's like the whole movie is just he's a dead man.
So you're saying that he's actually Gabriel Byrne?
Yeah.
Because when he says that I was engaged, but she didn't, she changed her mind.
Yep.
Okay. Because I'm looking here, and I drew up I looked up some themes, but I didn't read them.
Well, hit me with the themes that you looked up.
It says, death is a journey in life itself. The film portrays death not as an end, but as an ongoing ceremony or liminal voyage. William Blake is literally a, quote, dead man, unquote, from early on, wounded and drifting toward the spirit world, while his companion Nobody treats the trek as a ritual guide to Blake's misplaced spirit back to its proper, to guide his spirit misplaced back to its proper place. It's about preparing the mind for mortality, reincarnation cycles, and the hazy space between life and the afterlife. Jarmusch has said death is life's only certainty and, quote unquote, its greatest mystery, and the whole story unfolds like a pre-death state of drifting awareness. Names are empty or iconic. Blake doesn't know he's named after the famous poet, and Nobody embodies a man stripped of place in a fractured world. The story explains how the brutal frontier and industrial machine erases or reinvents identity. Blake evolves from a naive accountant into a mythic killer poet figure, all while the environment forces constant metamorphosis.
Okay, so he's changing, but I think he's in denial of what he did and who he is. He's not an innocent accountant. He is a guy who kills, and the spirit is bringing that out.
It is way too, like, I have to think about it. Now I have to watch it again.
Right?
Now I have to watch it again. I have to fucking watch it again. Holy shit.
Yeah, I felt when I watched it this time, I felt like I was just being browbeaten by all of the symbolism. Like I was like, okay, Jim, I get it. But it was just, just heaping it on you. All these metaphors. And on top of that, it's a really good, man escapes justice tale in the Old West. If you don't want to see it as a metaphor, it's still meaningful. But you get to the end. Why is this guy with 2 bullets in him gonna? Why is he going to be put into a boat and set out to sea in the Pacific Northwest? That didn't make sense unless that's a metaphor for heaven or whatever.
Well, that's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I thought he was going. But I swear to you, it never occurred to me in this entire time that he'd been dead the whole time, like a waking life sort of situation.
Yeah,
like you knew why Wincott was dead.
There's a scene where Gary Farmer sees him and you see the skull.
Skull, yeah.
So that was the tip off for me. I'm like, oh, he really is dead. Okay, I get it.
All right, now I got to watch it again. I don't know how fast I'm going to get around to it, but it's got to happen soon.
Look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to look. I'm going to look at this. It says Jarmusch specifically wanted Young after editing test scenes to his song Cortez the Killer. Young watched a 2.5-hour rough cut 3 times over 2 days and improvised the entire live score, mostly on electric guitar, his famous Old Black, plus acoustic, piano, and organ, reacting emotionally in real time. The result is a raw, droning, thunderous masterpiece that feels inseparable from the black and white image. Jarmusch even filmed some of the sessions on High 8 video, available on Criterion. It's often called one of the greatest movie scores ever for its hypnotic, chaotic beauty. So shit. Like I feel like I'm stymied here. Like I've got to start all over again.
I know. I need John here to go into serious detail about something that I never thought of, just to keep me from focusing too much on this one theory that I have.
Which is that or something else?
Yeah, that's the one. That's the thing that struck me yesterday and today. And I read the review, and it was similar. It makes perfect sense to me.
Hold on, I'm going to run this through the AI. Is the Blake character already dead at the start of the film? Let's see. Here we go. Good old AI. Okay, it says no. It says no, the Blake character. Could be wrong. I mean, it's just an opinion. Is literally not dead at the very start of the
film. AI. I didn't see the movie.
What actually happens, Blake's... Okay, so shortly after... Okay. Many viewers and critics see the entire movie, or at least everything after the train ride, as a kind of liminal death journey or afterlife hallucination. The title Dead Man, the dreamlike black and white cinematography, the increasingly bizarre and symbolic events, and lines like nobody asking, did you kill the white man who killed you? Quote unquote, all support the idea that Blake is spiritually, quote, already dead once he's shot. Some even argue the train ride is a metaphor for crossing into the afterlife.
That's right.
Okay, so there's the literal plot, and then there's a symbolic, metaphoric.
And they both work at the same time. You don't have to buy into my bullshit to enjoy this movie.
I'm not saying you're wrong. In fact, I am going to watch it again, bearing that in mind and trying to look for it. But it also has some fantastic people in it. You've got John Hurt, who's only in it for 5 minutes.
He's excellent in it.
Yeah, you've got Robert Mitchum, of all people, who's only in it for 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. And the weird thing is that he ends up killing Gabriel Byrne. He ends up being kind to this one woman that everybody treats like shit. And apparently she used to be a whore. Now she's trying to clean up her act. And, of course, nobody wants to. And when you think about it that way, that is a sort of hellish kind of thing you try to reform. And then the people around you are doing everything they can to drag you back down again and make you feel bad about doing, something good. And she wants to turn her life around. She's just selling paper roses.
Yeah.
And that fat drunk guy just come and pushes her in the mud.
Yeah,
the mud and the shit. And the flowers are all white, and now half of them are covered in mud. And so Johnny Depp is kind to her and, gets her to her feet and, offers her a drink like he has no money.
Right.
And she ends up sleeping with him. And then the next thing you know, Gabriel Byrne comes in apologizing for, I guess, their breakup. And then she sort of mean-spiritedly says, well, I never loved you anyway, which is too much for him to bear. And he just pulls out a gun and shoots her. And then the bullet goes through her and hits him.
Yeah. Now she's jumping in the way of the bullet to save this guy who she just met the night before, which is, shows the connection that they had.
Yeah. And then from there, it's sort of on because he's on the run getting blamed for both murders. Because Gabriel Byrne is Robert Mitchum's son. And then he is on the run and starts to run. There's got a whole cast of characters after him. You've got Lance Henriksen, who is just super dark in this. Just super dark.
Michael Wincott, Jesus Christ.
He is hysterical. Like, I've never seen him be that funny. He's just a fucking riot. You've got a whole cast of like bounty hunters and like marshals and like the rewards going up $500 and $1,000 and then $2,000.
Yeah, this is the guy that would go on to do The Wire. That was a good thing. I totally didn't know who he was when I first saw this. The kid, Johnny the Kid Pickett.
Oh, really? Who is he?
Played by Eugene Bird. But Eugene Bird was one of the detectives in The Wire.
Oh, okay. Oh, he did look familiar. Okay. All right. And so he spends the rest of his time on the run, but then slowly becoming less meek and more aggressive. Yeah. And the scene where nobody's monologue about how he becomes nobody is just magical and heartbreaking and fantastic. I mean, the man has had all these tragic adventures. He escapes to come back to his people, and nobody believes him. You're just lying. You just made all of this up, which could lend towards something like, a hellish sort of situation. You make it back home and your own people reject you. You've already been through hell. You finally make it back home, but that's not a safe place either. So now he just sort of wanders the earth, attached to nobody.
I didn't get why the girl was so mad at him when Johnny Depp stumbles across him and he's making love to the woman, unless, she just was pissed at him because he stopped making love to her or something. But
right.
She's not happy. I can't figure out that part for the life of me.
Well, if they are in hell and there's one brief moment of happiness, just for it to be fucking interrupted, you wouldn't be, although, I can see any woman you walk in on and, you're having sex and the guy just stops, hey, what's going on? Let's have some beers. That's probably not going to go over well with any woman. But if you are in the afterlife and you manage to squeeze off, a little bit of time, and then that gets interrupted. Yeah. I mean, you're going to be, right. You're not going to be that woman's favorite person. Billy Bob Thornton.
Good scene. Great scene. Billy Bob and
Iggy Pop is fucking terrifying. With that
Jared Harris, underrated in that scene, but he's so good too. All three of them.
So, I mean, they're sort of making it through, and then he just kind of starts shooting. Like, does nobody leave him? I think nobody leaves for a little while before he finds them again having sex. He kind of takes off.
Okay. Yeah.
There's like a peyote scene, and then after the peyote, he kind of leaves him asleep, and he wakes up the next day and like he's gone.
Yeah.
Nobody's gone, and it takes them a little while to find him again. So they're just kind of wandering through these bramble and briars, and he ends up gunning down two marshals, and and then I love that scene where Lance Henriksen shoots the boy, the black kid, and then I guess Michael Wincott just talks too much, so he ends up getting shot and then eaten.
Yes.
He's eating his arm.
Now that if that doesn't just tell you that these guys are just straight up demons, I don't know what does.
Dude, I couldn't figure out what it was at first. I thought he had his leg, and then I saw the hand, like sort of limply, and it's just been gnawed on, and like it's somewhere between skin and bone,
And that
you know,
that part reminded me of Ravenous so much. Where I was like,
oh,
oh, yeah, that movie.
yeah, another film that again people rarely talk about, but it's just fantastic from the '90s. Although towards the end of it,
So yeah, after the peyote part, it's my favorite part, my favorite scene. I texted that to you last night, where
oh,
he's like finally finding his own voice, and nobody is talking in those riddles, Native American riddles, and he's just like, I am sick of this Indian malarkey. I don't understand a word you said, and I haven't since I got here.
well,
Great scene.
I love that he is also the Cayuga from Ghost Dog, and they shoot his fucking pigeon. He's got that same line, "Stupid fucking white man."
Yep.
That's the first thing that comes, "Stupid fucking white man," and it is from that era. I guess where now, I guess there's a little bit of pushback on the interpretation of the West and what the Indians were actually like, so on and so forth. But in this one, the natives are kind of portrayed as, the victims in these sorts of things, and they were eradicated. So, it wasn't like they were out eating cupcakes.
They didn't have a fair deal, that's for sure.
No, and you got Alfred Molina passing out bad blankets with smallpox in them that make people sick.
It was a pretty poignant scene when he was like, I don't have any tobacco. And Johnny Depp there, yeah, you got tobacco? Maybe a couple of twists just for you. Like that's the portrayal of like actual, like the real racism from the 50s kind of thing.
Yeah. The 1850s, yeah. The 1850s, yeah. And we've seen other movies like when we did Hostiles with Christian Bale, which is a little more even in its portrayal. But I didn't mind this at all. I didn't mind this at all. I didn't need it to be revised. I didn't need it to be red pilled, which kind of gives me a headache nowadays.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it for what it was. Just a fantastic story. He makes it to the end of the line, and
he makes it to the ocean, the Pacific Northwest, and the gatekeepers, like they literally have a gate that he has to go through, which I thought was pretty cool.
Hold on. Shot by Robbie Mueller in stark black and white to evoke 19th century photography, like a heavy Ansel Adams influence. They scouted relentlessly across Arizona, Nevada, California, and Oregon to find pristine locations with zero modern intrusions, no roads, poles, cars, or planes in frame. It was physically rough, but the luminous, nightmarish landscapes became transcendent. Johnny Depp as a wide-eyed Blake was ideal. Gary Farmer brought authentic depth to Nobody. Killer ensemble includes Robert Mitchum. Yeah, we talked about everybody's up there. Jarmusch's reputation pulled in those icons effortlessly. I'm sure they did it for probably studio pay, whatever scale, to get in something like that.
Absolutely. After he did Mystery Train with what's his name from The Clash, Joe Strummer. I'm sure everybody wanted to be in his next movie. He was just the thing for a minute.
He's a good fucking director, man. I gotta say, doing things this way, with like a director of the month has just been fantastic.
Yeah.
And at least picking two films that I haven't seen from those, whoever the director happens to be, has been fantastic for me. Seeing Patterson, and then what's the other one for next week? Last Night or Only Night or something like that.
Night on Earth.
Night on Earth. Oh.
First Jarmusch movie I ever saw. It's still one of my favorites. Four separate vignettes and a host of really good players in that one as well. You'll like it.
Let's see. It said financing was rough, shooting was arduous, long travels, period accuracy, and Jarmusch edited intuitively without rigid plans. He cut many scenes for rhythm, embraced quote-unquote perfect imperfection, and viewed the film as a countercultural, acid Western fantasy. The violence is deliberately unheroic and messy to discomfort viewers raised on glossy shootouts.
Sure.
It reminds me a little bit in that way of The Proposition, which was just a brutal movie. Did you see that?
Mm-mm.
With Guy Pearce, and Ray Winstone and Danny Glover. And I think the script was written by Nick Cave. And it's set in Australia, back when Australia was a penal colony. And it is just, there's nothing heroic going on in there at all. Fantastic film. If you get a chance, watch it. I mean, I'm still reeling from what you said. So, I mean, we've been going about 45 minutes.
Well, we have hit pretty much everything. I mean,
I think so too.
It's full of Jim Jarmusch isms, where you swear that he wrote these as small vignettes and he's sewing them all together. The thing with the marshals, the thing with the fur trappers, all play like they don't belong in the movie, but they work as parts of the movie. That's just a typical Jarmushism. Like, you'll have stuff that happens that doesn't seem to want to happen.
Why the marshals?
I don't know.
And you know, the baby deer is killed. Like, you know, that the little baby deer, somebody shot it.
Well, the baby deer, if my theory is true that Johnny Depp is a killer, he killed his wife, which is why he doesn't want to talk about it in the beginning. It's got to be him finding some kind of empathy. And if he finds a dead Bambi and spends the night cuddled with it, that's sort of him just learning to be a better person. I don't know.
Didn't seem like he was a bad person, even if that theory of yours is correct. It was just more like a crime of passion.
Maybe.
Although I get the impression that Gabriel Byrne, if we're not talking about keeping it the way that you're suggesting, wasn't a good person. Like, I don't know. It's hard to say. Because he wasn't terrible, but I mean, I don't know, crime of passion. You know, she says she never loved you, and so you just pull out a gun and shoot her. I mean, you're clearly not a good guy.
Yeah.
But, you know, what's that saying? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. So, you know, maybe.
I mean, he comes across as a nerd, and you want to be in his corner, but that's all from, you know, the funeral and people, you know, saying good things about him, that he probably doesn't remember the fact that he's full of sin, you know?
Yeah, not to mention the fact that people that are hooting him up are people you don't really like.
Right.
So there's that.
So I don't know, you know, in the metaphor, like, I don't know what the marshals are. They're just another couple of guys who are trying to bring him to justice in some way. And he's trying to slip the noose of everybody. Hell's after him. You know, the Justice Department is after him. These fur trappers, who I guess, I don't know what it meant. Like, they kept saying, "I'll have him." No, I'll have him. Like, what are they going to do? Were they going to bang him? Were they going to take his soul? Is he just another a pelt that they're going to skin alive? I don't know what they're actually planning on doing to him.
Fair enough. Is there anything? Let's just start to, because we're going into almost 50 minutes now. Is there anything about this film that we have not? I mean, I feel like we could, but I just got sandbagged with what you told me.
We mentioned everything that I can remember.
Yeah, I think so. Hold on a second. Let me take a look.
The last thing I'll point out is the really, really, really bad CGI at the beginning, when the smokestack of the machine that looks so bad and fake.
Yeah. All right, well, this is definitely going to be another view. Okay, so let's get to the point in the scene where we rate the film. This channel has a rating system that goes to 0 to 5 up by half. So 0, 0.5, 1, 1.5, all the way to 5. So 0, for example, would be, I'd rather be caught in a phone booth with 10 snakes rather than watch this movie again, all the way to 5, which is, this is the journey, this is the destination. This is why I watch films in the first place. What would you be giving Jim Jarmusch's Dead Man?
Definitely a 4.5 for this one. Doesn't quite get to a 5, but that's just Jim Jarmusch isms. He does tend to overload his movies with some things that are unnecessary, and it slows the pacing down. Even though those things are great, it does harm the movie getting to the logical place it needs to sometimes. So it's not quite a 5, but it is really, really, really good.
Okay. I want to go with 5.
Okay, sure.
With 5. I don't see any. I mean, it's fantastic to watch. It's beautiful to watch. It's a fantastic story. It's a great script. The movie's 2 hours long, and I didn't mind at all. You got an ensemble cast. You got a great soundtrack. I got nothing to complain about. It's been 31 years of this film, and I'm just a little embarrassed that I haven't watched it more often. So it's that good, and I probably will, in the near future, pick up a Criterion Blu-ray. So definitely an upgrade in my future with that.
That's definitely worth it.
All right, stupid fucking Bill Man. Plug something.
The school I work for, we're doing a production of Mean Girls. Next week is our tech week, and next Saturday, Friday and Saturday are our plays. So that's what I'm all engulfed in. Look for my band. We are called Ye Old Bottom Turns. We are a surf band. We're learning new merman songs as we speak. So we should be playing sometime in the neighborhood sometime soon. I'll let you know.
Okay, sounds real good. For this channel, I guess we're going to wrap up Jim Jarmusch, and we're still going to have an extra week, but I think we'll just take the week off. Because we started I think the first show was on the 1st. So there's the 1st, the 7th, or the 2nd, and today's the 15th, and then there's one more on the 21st or 22nd, and there'll be time for one more, but we won't get to it. And it's one I've never seen before, and I can't remember the name again. What's it called?
Night on Earth.
Night on Earth. So that's what we'll be getting to. You will not be here next week, but John will be here, and we will get through. All right. Yeah. All right. Good luck with your show. I've never actually seen Mean Girls or anything like that. That's another, I think, movie from the was that 90s or
early 2000s? Yeah,
early 2000s. I never saw it.
It's actually really good. It's written by Tim. It's got the movie's better than the play. I'm not in love with the musical, but the movie is fantastic.
That's usually the case when they do these things. All right, my thanks to stupid fucking Bill Man. We will see you all in the next video. All right, take care, everyone.